enough. You need the record button.
How many years have you been pressing the button?
Oh, a lot of years. And I got to tell you, on another show, to remain nameless, with somebody it's a really high power person that I do this with, very hard to get hold of. The plug that goes from the computer into the console fell out during the recording, and I have spent a week trying to repair the audio levels on about 10 minutes worth of stuff, which is painstaking. Yeah. I mean, and so I talked to my other friends who are like sound experts and crap, which I am not, but they're like, even the best just do really stupid shit sometimes. Really stupid shit.
But I think we're all here. Everything's plugged in. Everything's good.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah, speaking of we got a whole bunch of Doc Johnson plugs in. They've been pricing those all.
Oh, butt plugs.
Butt plugs. We got a whole bunch of those in this week, so those will be going out. The merchandise is coming in. We did that, do the inventory, move everything around, see what we don't want anymore, and then get some new stuff in. So we're at that part of the year.
Cool.
I always like that part of the year.
That's kind of neat. It's like a spring cleaning kind of deal.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Okay, so Sunday, I get this out of the blue phone call, and the way that this is in my phone, I knew exactly who it was. Lisa Swinger.
Okay.
Lisa Swinger called me, a.k.a. Mrs. Sin, because the Swingers Convention is coming up, and I have had a hell of a time. Those swingers can be elusive people.
Yeah. Well, I do know the person who is running it got really sick past 2
Amanda.
weeks.
Yeah.
So that's coming up this weekend. So if you're listening and stuff like that, there's probably still tickets. We've got a link on our site.
Well, so Mrs. Sin has agreed to come back. And we haven't talked to her in like 2 years. We miss her very much because she is one of the funniest people I think we've ever had on this show. I don't think we've ever topped that show.
No.
How can you? But I digress. Anyway, but then I did speak with Amanda, and Amanda, bless her heart, invited me to come and interview people. Which, if I didn't totally have this whole family Easter thing going on, I'd totally go interview swingers. But it's like Easter swingers, swingers Easter, Easter swingers. I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird deal.
Well, I know that over Easter weekend used to be one of the science fiction. I think there still is a science fiction convention that goes on, but because it's a perfect weekend for folks to go do something, because most other conventions don't book that weekend.
Yeah.
So it's pretty.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought that I said, I'm so sorry. Cause I have a whole booked weekend, but oh my God, what a riot.
Everyone's going to be setting up. We're going to be out there Friday and Saturday, and we've found a winner for our VIP prize package room and tickets, and everyone seemed really exciting. What was really fun is that we kept emailing the winner, and they had forgotten that they had signed up for it. So they thought it was spam. We're like, no, you really won. So no, they got their prize package, and so we're pretty excited about that.
That's cool.
I won't be here. I go on spring break with my kid.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have too many more spring breaks with my kid.
No, she's getting to that age where she's not going to have time for you anymore.
Nope.
Off to college in a couple of years. I don't know. I've seen this stuff, and what's really funny about it is that a friend of mine that goes way back to California, her husband actually had the U.S. distributorship for this. And it's the penis lipstick. They're so cute.
We sold. Well, there used to be a really, really cheap knockoff version, something in the 80s from United Sales. And I don't think that company exists anymore. But we sold so many of them.
Yeah. 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 I mean, she was so funny because, he was a distributor he was the nationwide distributor for Lifestyles condoms.
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and then he also had this, and he had some other things, but the lipsticks are pretty good, but they're back, and Groupon has a deal. And they're only $6, and that's a pretty good price for a lipstick. I mean, Yeah,
I know. And if you're self-conscious, honestly, it's only, penis shaped for a little bit.
I know.
It's lipstick.
But it's super, super cute. So look that up. And Groupon's got a deal. And they're nicknamed like Dick Sticks or Lip Dicks or, whatever you want to call them. I suppose just like supermodels get asked their beauty tips and crap like that, as if putting something on your face is going to make you from a normal person to the cover of Sports Illustrated. But okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's bone structure in Photoshop. So
yeah. So, and along those same lines, Webcam Girl reveals sex tips.
Okay.
So it's as absurd.
The two of us are like, let's see, is there going to be anything new in this?
Probably
honestly, in 3 years of doing the Great Northern Sex Cast, have we actually? I mean, they've repackaged things and they've renamed things.
There's been some great names,
great names. But so what? So let's see what tips do we have from
Webcam? Delicious
Webcam?
Angel. Delicious Angel
okay.
is her name, and she got famous on Strip Chat, which I kind of think that's snappy name. That's kind of nice. Basically, foreplay is a must. Oh, we've never talked about that before.
But honestly, if she probably gets asked. That's why, I mean, not everyone's born knowing this stuff. I mean,
No, I know. Next up, up the intensity, use a blindfold. Okay. Self-confidence is very important, which a lot of people would argue that it's easy to be confident if you are a supermodel or something like that.
If this is the job you have, you're probably confident going into.
Yeah. In order to please someone else, you got to know how to please yourself. What just cracked your own self up?
That is something, the whole fake it till you make it thing. Yeah. That sort of works. You can just fake your orgasm till you make it. I don't know. It popped into my head. I said, there's different way of looking at that phrase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she claims also, this is just a side note, self-respect is more important than money. Oh, okay.
It also depends where your line is.
Said no one ever who got rich. But and then finally, her last little thing is have sex someplace where you're afraid you'll get caught, like in public. Wow, again, something we've never heard before.
Kudos to those who find that interesting, but no.
I guess you and I just are a little bit jaded because we see this stuff all the time. So, okay. We always post every week on the Great Northern Sex Cast. We post the links to the articles, and I'm going to put this one up and let everybody just kind of judge for themselves. Okay. But I have not given birth, nor have you.
No.
Even though you are a mother, I am not.
But I have been at 5 women and 9 children's, 5 moms, 9 children have been at births.
Have you really?
I am really, really good at breathing.
Really?
Yeah, I am excellent in the delivery room.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty nice. Well, can I just ask? Awesome. Can I just ask what the how you got invited to so many births? Did the word spread about your breathing skills? I mean, what happened?
My first friend, one of my friends since we were 14 and 15-year-old, said, "Well, what are you doing?" And then she gave a general week in advance, and I said, "I don't know." She goes, "How about being there when I have my kid?" And I'm like, bah! Because that's how she announced to me that she was expecting. And I said, great, have someone there. And then I was there for all 3 of her kids. And then another friend had to go out of town, and he was afraid, because of a death in the family. And he was afraid that his wife might go into labor and wanted someone that he knew he could be there. And I did that. And it just, so there's, like I said, 5 women.
That's a lot of births. I mean, that's
9 children's.
That's really interesting.
I even got to cut an umbilical cord.
Really?
Almost got hit by an exploding placenta.
Sweet.
Yeah. If I moved out of the range because one of the gals, you can get nauseous, and so after baby's fine, all that, they're doing the placenta thing, and she vomits. And out came, with the contraction, out came the placenta. And it just, blood hit the wall and all this sort of stuff. And I had just moved out of, out of range. And I asked her, I said, do you put vomited out the placenta? They said, no, we just put spontaneous. I said, okay.
Oh, but, how will you record this on the chart?
How do you but everyone paused and looked over and looked at it, and then the folks with the baby went back to the baby. We took it, I'm taking care of it. But there was a momentary, everyone paused. Oh, okay then. And I went, no, there's nothing. There's other than I've seen it all. Done it all. So like that. Clean up after someone.
I can't top that. I cannot top that. Well, this article that we're going to post, this is about a woman who says she had an orgasmic birth. Her labor was so good. It was like deep, intense sex. And it was like her second or third child. She started doing yoga and all these different things after having a tough time the first round. So she claims that she had an orgasmic birth. And I will let you read and decide for yourself if this is a crock of shit or if it's possible.
I've read a couple of articles where folks have, usually folks that are really into yoga and doing all this sort of stuff, where they've actually used magic wands for stimulation during that to help with the contractions and stuff like that.
Really?
Hey, if it works for you and if it can, keep you from ripping, tearing, get the kid out, safer. Hey, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't judge. I just, okay. Okay, so the Bikini Airline, have you ever heard of them? It's Vietjet Air is their actual real name.
No, I haven't. For some reason, like the Bikini Islands have their own airline.
No, you give everybody the benefit of the doubt. No, this is a sleazy thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like some good sleaze every now and then.
Yeah, Vietjet Air got the nickname for stunts featuring scantily clad women. For example, they have an annual calendar that has women posing as cabin crew members and blah blah blah. They launched in 2011, so they've been around for a while. They just got a new flight from Vietnam to India. In 2012, they got in trouble because they had a sexy stunt. It was a PR campaign where 5 flight attendants were dressed in bikinis and they danced for passengers mid-flight. When they landed, they got fined in India because they did not get permission from aviation authorities, which who has jurisdiction for in-flight lap dances?
Yeah. How do you? Where? What?
Who cares?
Why would you need? I'm confused.
I know. But anyway, they are, they're still kind of, flying to the more exotic locales between Asia and India and around that part. And they're not connecting to Europe proper yet, but people can only hope. And they've had thousands of women from China, for example, trying to get in as flight attendants. So, whatever floats your boat.
I mean, there's just so little room on a plane now. I just don't even know how you do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember traveling. It just came up on social media the other day. Someone posted a picture of the interior of a plane, like in the late 60s, where there was actually room. I mean, we didn't travel a lot, but we went to go visit my parents. I remember my mom being able to get up and walk in front of us. Not have to get up.
Oh, on the plane, yeah.
And everyone, and I would get on the plane. We're little kids, and we'd all get a little bag, and it had like a Pan Am. I think it was Pan Am. Little deck of cards and little metal wings, and they always let us peek into the cockpit and see what was going on.
Oh God!
The full service carts of food going up and down, and everyone dressed up. I mean, my sister and I sometimes would have little matching outfits on.
Oh yeah. My mom always dressed up to fly.
And, honestly, it used to be that when it was special to fly. Now it's just a, flying bus. And if I'm going to be crammed in, I am 5'3"3/4, and my knees pretty much touch. They don't touch the ground, but they'll touch the seat in front of me.
Yeah.
So I am going to be comfortable. Yeah. So there.
Oh yeah. I'm with you. Okay. I love this story. This is really cool. I was super excited to find this. Because we talk about bizarre fetishes all the time. And it seems like every time we think we've heard the last of them, another one comes out. We don't have a new one this week.
Okay.
But what we do have is some insight to the background of some of them, which I thought was cool. Okay. And this comes via a sex educator and research psychologist from Harvard, Justin Lehmiller.
Okay.
And, here's the quote, which you and I have said, maybe we could be Harvard professors. But it says pretty much anything you can think of, someone out there probably has sexual associations attached to it, which how many times have we said that here? So there's there's a couple theories. So the first one is Pavlovian. So they're saying if you've had, repetitive associations with one thing and then sex, pretty soon, it will become, okay. And he used a study from the 60s that involves showing a group of men pictures of naked ladies next to snapshots of boots. And then pretty soon, every time they saw boots, they got, okay. The next one is the pain theory. And this goes back to that fine line between pleasure and pain, which the dear departed lead singer of the Divinals had such a good song. Remember that song? Oh God, she was so great. You know, she died of breast cancer, right? Pretty young.
I knew it was cancer, but I didn't know.
Yeah, and she wasn't even 60, I don't think. Awful. She was a hottie boom baladi. The disgust theory is that when you're in a high state of sexual arousal, your disgust impulse weakens. So your entire perception of the world gets altered. And so it's at that point, if something different is introduced, people are less likely to judge it.
Okay.
Thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, so in other words, you're distracted by sex. So, hey!
And then pretty soon, I think the Pavlovian theory may come in. But this last one just totally cracks me up because I can attest to this one right here. It's called the brain overlap theory. And research has shown that the area of your brain that is in charge of your sex organs is close to the area that controls your feet. And according to some studies, there's sometimes an overlap in crosstalk between, your sexual parts and your feet. I am so ticklish, and I have certain parts on my feet that it's like, it's like I can totally see how that would be sexual.
Yeah, I am a highly ticklish individual too, but it just, feet and sex. No, foot fetish. Well, a foot rub feels spectacular.
Yeah, but on the inside of my arch of my feet in different parts, I mean, I could probably, I think if I really worked at it, I could probably have an orgasm if it was dealt with properly, because I definitely get that one. So there you go. I just revealed something. Okay, I'm not going to go into the whole story. You can read the whole thing, but this is the best creep shaming I've heard in a while. So this chick got a text from a guy who claimed he was a former classmate, wanted to reconnect. She didn't recognize the number, and she kept saying, no, really, I really don't know who this is. And he got kind of pissed. And so it devolved into him sending her dick pic. And then she finally realized who it was, and he was acquainted with her family. So she sent the whole transmission to his grandmother.
Oh, I think so. I mean, just, I think if you could honestly get a hold of some of these folks' parents and go, do you know what your child is doing?
Even if the person's like 35.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Going through their skull.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to be in a place where there are swimsuits in a week, in a few days. And then my daughter bought new swimsuits. She's actually more modest than I, so that's pretty cool. But it's going to be interesting because I've noticed how many times I'm going to have to get between her and somebody else's gaze.
Oh.
Because folks are not particularly interested in the 215-pound, 52-year-old woman. So I just meander in front and I stare at the person who is staring at my kid.
Yes.
It's fun.
I bet.
Uh-huh.
I bet.
Yeah, I've done this on numerous occasions where I realize what's going on. As far as I know, my kid's fairly oblivious to this other stuff going on, but I notice this shit, and it's fun.
Good for you, Mom. I like it. Will you be doing any naked dining on your trip?
That would be no.
Okay.
No. I have fairly large breasts, and I manage to drop enough food on me as it is. I do not need food on the tits.
You don't want to scald your boobs?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying if you do, there's a town, this whole event really, it's called Dine Naked Bristol, England. And they've already had 2 events which sold out instantly. And the organizer says, people absolutely love it. And, you just come and it brings sandals, slippers, or flip-flops, but the point is to be naked, so don't wear anything else. They give you towels to sit on, and you don't have to worry about being cold because they do keep the room pretty warm, and all of that. And the only people who will see you will be other naked diners and the restaurant's staff, and the windows will be curtained. So, if you're a nudist, knock yourself out and go out on the town.
Honestly, there are so few meals that I get through without wearing food. And, and it just, I don't know how I manage this. I am a grown-ass woman. I somehow manage to not be able to, one, keep my shoes tied, two, not drop food on me. And then I keep tissues everywhere, and I'm still occasionally going, oh, Jesus. And then my nose is a little crusty. I'm like, I'm not a 5-year-old, but I can't seem to manage these things. So the idea of going somewhere and eating new and just, and having to like wipe up my belly or my thigh. No, my boobs. Yeah, my boobs are going to catch everything.
Maybe you could. It's like a dream catcher.
I mean, I despise clothing. If I lived alone, I would be naked all the time.
Yeah,
but I don't think I would eat nude. I just don't. They're just crumbs and stuff. They're just places I don't want it. No.
Okay. All right. Not your thing. No. I get it. No. So remember how we had the daikon radish pillow that was supposed to be hot and sexy?
Oh, sexy pillow. Yeah, sexy vegetables.
Well, here's one, another Japanese designer. This is a man-shaped pillow, bulging pecs and a 6-pack.
Just the torso? Or a whole man?
Yeah. Yeah, the Opie pillow is designed to look like a man's torso and has arms that can hug you back. Really?
I don't want random body parts. I mean, not like in a pillow. That would sort of freak you.
It's gross. It doesn't have a head, I don't think.
If you get a dildo penis, it has a particular job, but like a headless, because we sold a really large torso, a guy and the penis and a couple different things. And people, they're reasonable masturbators, but just a pillow?
It's like, it's like a stuffed animal for an adult. It freaks me out.
I think that's what it is I've never been very fond of
plush toys.
The things that look like stuff for children that become sexual.
Yeah.
That does not do it for me.
Doesn't work for me either. So there's a male birth control pill now. It's available soon. This is being developed down in Australia, and they're saying no side effects and it boosts libido. So,
so in other words, it'd be about 1,000 years before it gets, if it ever makes it here, before it gets FDA approval.
Yeah, check this out. So, apparently, according to the Australian scientists that developed it, it stops sperm from leaving the penis during ejaculation. So, let me just get a visual on that. So, everything else comes out, and the sperm know to step aside. Like, how does that shit work?
And then, does the sperm get destroyed, absorbed back in? Where does the sperm... Okay,
all right, well, here's what it says. It will work by blocking 2 key proteins in the brain that are responsible for releasing swimmers during the orgasm.
Okay.
And they claim that it can boost libido because it dilates blood vessels exactly the same way Viagra works. We're looking around the room trying to decide if we think this is valid. The project just received a huge funding boost from the U.S.-based Male Contraceptive Initiative. And there's a quote in the article, "We are moving closer to developing a convenient, safe, effective, non-hormonal male oral contraceptive that can be readily reversed." And in the past, the fears were long-term fertility damage and loss of libido. So
I know. That would, honestly, to have another option that, especially the words non-hormonal, because I know that when we've talked about this before, that they've had some other male pills, but the guys didn't like it because, they had side effects, and they weren't willing to put up with the side effects because they're not the ones that can get pregnant.
Yeah. Right. This is just a humorous Starbucks mention out of Scotland. Guy named Campbell from Fife.
Okay.
Goes by Cam. And you know how at Starbucks they write your name? His tweets of how often it comes out looking like cum, C-U-M. And so he tweets them out.
So he has like an entire collection
yeah.
on his social media pages of all the different ways that his Starbucks cups look like cum.
Yeah, right. And he says...
I would do that. Yeah, if there was... I like this guy. I think I would like to go have a beer with him, much more than coffee.
For sure.
But Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he says, his tweet said, Starbucks, can you please train your employees to just capitalize their A's? I'm tired of having to carry a cum latte around Edinburgh.
Because they don't finish that A. I can see. I can
just totally see it.
I can see the top. Yeah, I can just visualize exactly what the hell. Yeah.
Isn't that? I mean, it's funny. I think it's funny, but I think he's being kind of humorous about it. So man boobs, man rack, moobs. Heard of it?
Gynecomastia or whatever. I can't pronounce it, but yes.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, but that's exactly right. Gynecomastia. Yep. Lavender oil and tea tree oil have hormone disrupting chemicals that mimic estrogen and block testosterone. So if you're using a lot of products like soap and bath and hair things, you could be overexposing yourself, or if you're sensitive to that, it could be leading to moobs.
I know that a lot of tea trees oil, I think, is, I believe, used in a lot of astringents. So I could see maybe that being in facial products and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of acne.
Yeah.
Going through there.
Yeah.
I've never had to deal with that. I've been so lucky.
Just be careful.
Oh, my God.
You mean acne? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. In a true, fantastic story about what goes around coming back around in a most bizarre way, decades-old rapes get solved when a man, after a preposterous spat with a neighbor, pees on her plant. He gets in trouble in a citation. They DNA tested the piss, and it matched the rape kits.
There must have been some cells that came off through the urethra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they're also finally getting through. I mean, there's still tons of backlogs on rape kits all over the country.
Yeah, but that's
they go through them, and it's amazing. They are catching so many folks.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever watch that show. Well, no, because you don't like this kind of stuff. But oh my gosh, Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, that's one. It's the same story and has been for 15, 19 zillion years now. But yeah, it involves half the things involve kids. That just creeps me out to know it. I can't do it.
They did a whole entire show on and it was like I think it was a two-parter or something where it spanned jurisdictions across the United States, and the whole show was about the backlog of rape kits, and they were trying to call attention to that, which is kind of interesting.
Okay.
In other
Studio Doggy is adorable, and I'm just going to point that out right now.
Isn't he cute?
He's got his little nose over his paw. He's all sleepy.
Oh, he's so tired. He went to daycare yesterday.
He's
exhausted.
I'm talking to him because one eyeball just opened up and looked at me.
He knows. He knows he's being talked about. So, in the other freak file, Bill Cosby, a judge, has denied the latest request to delay his retrial by 90 days. They have agreed to let 5 more women, in addition to the chief complainant, testify. And during the first trial, the judge only allowed 1 additional accuser. So, and the judge said, if your attorneys are arguing that they only have 2 weeks to prepare, too bad.
What I find fascinating is that there's so much news right now about so many awful things that the awfulness of Bill Cosby isn't even making the top 10, top 20.
Yeah.
There's so much other stuff out there right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. Really interesting article about sex surrogates, Colleen.
Okay.
There's we'll post it on the Great Northern Sex Cast Facebook page. But the sex surrogates are really becoming a more and more legitimized form of psychosexual therapy to help people. And they help men who have an intense fear of intimacy and they're too scared to pursue relationships to grow in confidence. That's one case study that they are really good. And a lot of times they're trained clinicians, I think. And and they see clients over periods of time, but there's this whole protocol about this whole thing. They both have to get tested. There's consent. There's contraception agreements. They meet in public to get to know each other. I mean, it's very much like dating, only it's a sure thing for an actual concerted result.
Well, it's physical therapy for your sex life. I mean, you have to be trained and do all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm going to go get I'm getting physical therapy on my wrist.
Yeah.
There's a trained person who's been on through there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I have to do and they have to do before you get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some pretty interesting quotes and commentary from someone who does this for a living. And she explains some real life things. I'll just give you one quick one. One client in his 30s said he'd never seen or touched female genitalia. So that's what she helped him with. And she said it wasn't about pleasure or even learning how to please a woman. He just wanted to explore something so mysterious to him. And his intimacy problems became, not so insurmountable after they got him past that.
Because they built it up in his head. He just,
Yeah.
He just doesn't make it. Whether it's something to do with sexual or giving a speech or going on an airplane, whatever it is, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
You just your brain has attached itself to this thing and made it much larger than it is.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. So that's pretty much it today. I mean, it's been an interesting one, and I know you're jetting off, but we will have a show next week.
Yep.
So it's all good.
It's all good. So we'll I'll see everyone in 2 weeks, something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, and we got Ducky Doolittle coming up too.
Yes, we have a seminar from Blush Industries coming up on the 8th, and then Ducky's going to be joining us that afternoon.
That's going to be so cool. We love Ducky. I can't wait to meet her in person.
So exciting.
All right. We'll be back at you next week.